I grew up Baptist, and nothing screams Baptist preacher like a good sermon on money. And we've all heard money is the root of all evil, right? Only problem is, that's not in the Bible. Hey everyone, I am Colin, the resident nerd and Bible scholar here at the Bible Uncut and Unfiltered. Today we have a fun one. This is 1 Timothy 6:10 in the Mandela Effect and the Bible, ongoing series we've been doing about the things that we seem to remember being in the Bible, but that weren't actually ever there. And this is a classic one. Money is the root of all evil. Well, it's not. And that's not what the verse says. 1 Timothy 6:10 actually reads, "For the love of money is the root of all evil." That is an important difference there, but that's not the end of our conversation. Let's just first talk about this difference. Money is clearly not the root of all evil. Now, greed can cause a lot of problems, so I understand the point of the phrase. But the verse actually reads that the love of money is the root of all evil. And that doesn't change that much when you think about it, because why would you do bad things for money if you didn't love it? So it's kind of saying the same thing. But if we just stop and think for a second, is the love of money actually the root of all evil? How many things do we do each day that are not good toward other human beings, and yet money has nothing to do with it? You know, when we're rude to a person who cuts us off in traffic, or we say something mean to a family member, we're not getting paid to do that. And we're not doing it because we want money out of it. We're just being broken, flawed human beings. So was the Bible wrong here? Well, yes and no. No, in the sense of the Bible itself was not actually wrong about this. Yes, in the sense that some of our translations got it wrong. And in this case, the King James is the main one to blame. And we can even take it back to the Wycliffe Bible, the Geneva Bible, heck, even the Latin Vulgate. Something we stress often in our podcast is that when you're doing Bible study, you should be checking multiple versions against each other, because they help you to understand when there might be a little bit of a translation problem. You don't even have to know any Greek or Hebrew. You just need multiple good English Bibles, and when you see a good bit of variance in between them, it's probably indicating that the Greek or Hebrew passage beneath it is a little bit hard to translate over into English. And this is a case where if you checked other English versions, you'd see that many of them say something along the lines of, loving money is the root of many evils, or all sorts of evil. A very literal wooden rendering of the verse would say, "For the love of money is the root of all of the evils." Now, that doesn't translate over well into English, but that's kind of the point. See, evil in English can be singular or plural. If I said the world is full of evil, I'm not just talking about one singular evil. But in Greek, there is a plural form of this, and that's what's here in the verse. So it's saying all of the evils. Well, why would it put it that way? Well, if you actually look back in the passage, Paul has listed several evils in ways that people can act toward each other. And then he contrasts it with godliness, which he says, with contentment is great gain. Can you see the contrast now? If godliness is compared with contentment, it makes sense that he would root evils, all of these bad things that he's referenced in the verses before, with the love of money. See, Paul isn't actually saying that every single bad thing that we ever do as human beings is because we love money. That's just not an accurate statement. However, if we actually just look at the context and realize he was probably speaking to a church that had a good bit of wealth, and they were dealing with what to do with that money, and still the desire to try to keep getting more and more and more money, the desire that many of us have, then we can see that Paul isn't saying every bad thing we ever do is because we love money too much. No, instead, he's pulling out some specific things that people in that congregation 2,000 years ago were struggling with, probably because of their social standing and what to do with the wealth that they had now that they were Christians and they were trying to understand how best to care for the poor in their community. And Paul was saying, if you continue to chase after money the way that you have loved it, if you continue to make that your focus in life, you are going to have all of these other evils that are going to be in the way you treat other people. But if you can learn contentment, if you can learn to be okay with what you have, you're going to be closer to godliness. You're going to be closer to the way of Jesus. So this one is a little bit of a twofer. First, the Bible never says that money is the root of all evil. And second, it doesn't really even say that the love of money is the root of all evil. It said the love of money is the root of many sorts of evil, of all sorts of evil, of all of the evils mentioned previously in this passage for the church at Ephesus that Paul was writing to through Timothy. Let us know in the comments, had you heard this one before? And what other examples of the Bible and the Mandela effect should we cover in the future? I'd love to hear from you.